He's a great guy. He's been great for me in my career.
It seems emotional for you right now.
Yeah. If you lose everything in life under a circumstance, you can always build it back up.
All right, left now, we're going miss. Charlie X-ray is going miss.
And if they're looking, if they just need a little bit of motivation, guys. Please welcome Will Smith.
So I want to be able to help people. But I gained it all back.
Story, no, it's incredibly powerful.
I think everybody likes an underdog story.
I wasn't going to be the guy that just lays down and go quietly in the night. I'm not that person. I am Will, and I want to thank all of y'all for allowing me to come down here and speak to you. I hope at the end of this that you'll be able to walk away with something positive, and when you move on with your life in the future, you'll be able to take a little bit of what I have with you. Tonight, like Katie said, I'd like to talk to you guys about struggling and overcoming adversity. My first book I wrote was Falling from the Sky. That was my actual story. Believe it or not, some of you know this, some of you might not know this. I spent 26 months in prison for something I didn't do. And I fought for 26 months to get my freedom. And I had the judge thrown off the bench. I was exonerated. I got my life back. The easy part was the prison part. The hard part was when I got out. It took me 10 years to get back on my feet. And this is where the struggle really started. So I know everybody goes through a struggle in life. We have our ups and downs, we make mistakes, but that's what we're supposed to do as human beings, is make mistakes, and this is how we learn. Another reason I wrote the book was I talked to a lot of people that kind of write books, but they haven't been where you were. That's why I tell my story. So when someone reads my story, they can understand where I came from and know that I'm not just someone that went out and got a college degree and they're going to tell you how to live your life, because that's not fair. That's like an overweight person trying to tell you how to lose weight. You know, you're not going to listen to them. So you really have to sit down and think about who you are and where you want to be. Right now is a new beginning for you, because you're going to take with what you have now, the knowledge you have now, and you're going to take that and you're going to go somewhere with that. I wrote Ditches to Riches because what I did when I got out of prison, I had nowhere to live, I had no car, I had no money, I slept on a couch. I was basically homeless. But I had someone that gave me a chance to let me sleep on their couch. I started digging ditches in the Florida sun for $10 an hour. Now, down in Florida, it gets hot, you have longer days, like 14-hour days. But that's where I had to start, and that's where my goal started. So kind of one of the messages I want to give to you guys is set a goal for yourself, what you want right now, today, in the moment. Because the moment is always important. If you keep one leg in tomorrow and one leg in yesterday, you wind up pissing on today. And we don't want to do that. So we want to make something of the moment we have, because tomorrow's never promised. And I try to teach that to everyone that I'm around and when I'm doing my speaking engagements for people. I am an instructor, so I like teaching. And I teach people how to fly airplanes. I started digging ditches, now I fly jets around for the people of Outback Steakhouse and things like that. So that's what I do now. That's why I'm up here to Augusta with Miracle Toyota and Nissan. The owners of it, they just opened up 2 new locations in Augusta, so I figured I'd come down here and talk to you guys. So a lot of people ask me, how did you go from here to here? That's the book, and that's kind of what I want to talk about a little bit tonight. There's certain chapters in my book. Chapter 3 is one of them. It's mindset. It's really a state of mind where you're going to go in the future and what you're going to do. Your mindset is getting up in the morning and looking in the mirror. Who do you see looking back at you? If you're not happy with what you see, make a change. It's okay. I wasn't happy with what I saw when I was sitting in prison looking in that polished piece of metal because it wasn't glass. I was like, how in the heck did I get here? I made bad decisions, and we do that. Your best thinking, your best decision making got you exactly where you are right now. That's why you're here. That's why I'm up here speaking. And you're blessed to be able to hear the knowledge that I have to share so you can take from that, learn from that, and move forward and not make mistakes. But it's okay to make mistakes. Just don't continue making mistakes. That's why we all deserve a second chance. Now, how many people have struggled most of their life? Of course, probably about everybody in this room. That can be overcome. But you have to have something deep inside of you. That something deep inside of you says, you know what? We only have one life to live, right? Do we want to live it miserably, or do we want to live it with excitement and nice things and going places and going on vacation and having a positive relationship and things of that nature? Or do we want to continue to do the same things we do over and over and over again and expect a different result? What is that called? Insanity. Exactly. So if you keep on doing that over and over again, you're going to get the same result that you always got. If you don't cut your ties and your strings from 2019, you're going to bring them into 2020. So all of these great things you're thinking about from 2020, if you're still holding on to that stuff in 2019, what happens? You're dragging it in. And just like if I'm outside and it's a bad day and I have mud on my feet and I'm looking for a nice dry place to go with no mud, well, if I walk in and I don't dry all that stuff off and wipe all that mud off, what am I going to do? I'm going to bring it right in here. All I've done is I've just changed my situation, but I've brought all that mud and water and everything is weighing me down to where I am today. So that's learn how to not do that anymore. That's learn to take what we're taught and what you guys learn in the rooms. And I know you guys go through a 12-step program. I also have a little program that I do, a step program, is to help you become successful once you're outside and once you get a job and you find your goals. I got a Pell Grant when I got out of prison. With that Pell Grant, I went and got a degree in architecture, design, and construction technology. Pell Grant means one happy thing. You don't have to pay it back. It's free. So take advantage of it because it's out there, especially for you guys. Education is key. Education will open up doors for you. It opened up some doors for me. Remember, I started digging ditches. Now I'm flying multi-million-dollar jets. It's because I took this simple plan that I made on my own, using common sense. And common sense sometimes is not so common anymore in our day and age because people don't know how to use their God-given sense of right from wrong. If you're going to do something, you know if that's right or if that's wrong. You get that little feeling in your stomach before you're getting ready to do something, and you're like, wait a minute. And then that's when that common sense kicks in. Should I be doing this or should I not? Should I go with these people or should I not? I sometimes walk into rooms or environments where I feel a lot of negative energy and I don't want to be there. And I turn around and walk out because I don't feel that positive energy. If you get around people where you feel that same feeling, that's your inner self trying to tell you something. That's your inner self saying, hey, maybe I shouldn't go out and get in the car with these people and go somewhere. Maybe I should just stay home. We have to change our people, places, and things. When I got out of prison, I've caught the first smoking thing out of North Carolina. I didn't even want to be in that state. I didn't want to be anywhere around because of what happened. It was a bad experience. I was around bad people, and I just wanted to get out of there. And it's okay to get up and move and start over. That's right. Because that's the whole different definition about a new beginning, right? We meet new friends, we get a new job, we live in a new place, and this is what keeps us going. This is what motivates us. In this book, I break it down step by step on how to do that. I'm a big believer, we all have a higher power. I'm a big believer in positive and negative energy. I believe that you attract what you project. So if you put out positive vibes, you're going to get a lot of positive things coming back at you. If you put out negative vibes, you're going to have a lot of negative stuff come at you. And when that happens, it's the crowd of people you hang around. I mean, were you hanging out with doctors and lawyers before you came in here? Probably not. But now, when you get out of here, you're going to start doing that. If you want to be a nurse, hang around with people that are going to school for nursing. If you want to be a doctor, go out and hang out with people that want to become doctors. If that's something you want to be, you have to absorb yourself into it. If you don't absorb yourself into it, then it's never going to materialize for you. A good thing that you guys can do, you've got a lot of wall space here, you probably have a lot of wall space where you are, create yourself a purpose board. And on this little board, this is something that you can do, things that you want to do when you get out of here, things that you want to do or goals that you want to accomplish while you're in here. If it's something, if you want to spend time with your child, if it's something that you want to become a nurse, put that on your purpose board and look at it every single day, because I promise you it materializes, it works. It worked for me. You're talking to a guy that spent time in prison, dug ditches for $10 an hour, that's now flying around jets for the owners of Outback Steakhouse. That's how powerful that is, and that's how it worked for me. And if it didn't work, I wouldn't be up here preaching it. But this is something that we have to keep in mind and mindset. Now, books. A lot of people will pick up a book, they'll read it like, that's an awesome story, and put it down. This book is a great book to do that with, but this book isn't. This is a book that you're going to come back and reflect on. Because you want to come back to it and say, okay, in chapter 3, we'll talk about this, I'm going through this in my life right now, and I want to go back and reflect on that. Well, go back and reflect on it. That's why I wrote it. It's not a book that you're just going to read one time and put down and say, there's a lot of great information, because if you don't use it, what good is it? You know, you read it once and say it's a lot of great information, and then you go on about your life. Well, it hasn't helped you, nor have you helped yourself by not going back to it. This is something I like to call reflective thinking. In college, I took a philosophy course, and the professor talked about 3 things in life: random, routine, and reflective. And you have to kind of decide what person are you in those 3. Now, to give an example, a random person. You guys might know some random people. Random people bounce from job to job. They're there for maybe 2 or 3 months, and then they're to another job. And then they go to another job. And they never really settle down within that job and advance in that job, become a manager or upper level person in that company. They just bounce from job. They keep on making all these lateral moves. So we don't want to make lateral moves in life anymore. We want to make forward moves in life. We want to find something that we're interested in. Now, your first job may be a crappy job. I didn't want to sweat in the sun. I didn't want to dig ditches and carry boulders, but it was a stepping stone. That's why they call it steps, because each step that you take, you are advancing yourself closer to your goal. If you have a 12-step program, if you skip step 7 and 8, you're never going to get to 12. So you have to take each step. And my program's the same way. If you look at it and becoming successful and making money, it is so easy to make $100,000 a year. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable if you just apply the right concepts and you stay focused. The biggest challenge to me when I got out was not dating. I went 2 years and I did not put myself into a relationship because I wasn't ready mentally, financially, and socially. I wasn't ready for that. Because if you're not 100% or 110% on what you're doing and where you are in your life, you're not going to be able to communicate and develop a positive, and that's the key word here, positive relationship with someone else. And if you hang out with someone that's needy and you're trying to rebuild, well, guess what? You've already sunk your ship before it even left the port. You know?
That's right.
That's the hardest part, is not dating. You want to, and believe me, after 26 months in prison, that was on my mind. But I had to really say, okay, Will, what are your goals? What's going to be your biggest hurdle? Well, my biggest hurdle was myself. My second biggest hurdle was I have to get people out of my way that are slowing me down and getting in the way of my goal. And this is a simple word. It's called focus and discipline. You need to be a little bit disciplined. It's hard, but nothing in life comes easy. If you don't give 110%, you're not going to get 110%. If you give 40% into something, put 40% into something, that's exactly what you're going to get back. Yeah. There's nothing in life you can ever put 40% into and get 110% out. If someone tells you that, they're lying to you, they don't know what you're talking about. So kind of think about these things. And when we leave here, I just wish I had more books to be able to explain things like this to you so you can get it and understand. There's certain things I want to touch bases on that kind of rings a bell or it gives some type of emotional response from you so you can get what I'm saying. It's kind of like when you're born. you're not given, or your parents, should I say, are not given an owner's manual for this new baby that popped into the world. And the new baby's sitting there probably looking up with their big, beautiful eyes, looking at these two, thinking, I hope you know what the hell you're doing, because this is my life. And we don't have a book for that. As adults raising children, no one gives us a book on how to do it. We try to figure it out. Our parents try to tell us by their experiences, and then sometimes it frustrates us because we get offended because we think that they think we're stupid and we don't know what we're doing. But it's, there's no book on how to do it. What there is a book is where I've experienced life enough and gone through the peaks and the valleys, and I wrote this to help everyone to try to, when they get to that point in their life, saying, hey, is there something I can just kind of pick up and read? Somebody's been through what I've been through. Someone that's struggled like I've struggled. Someone has been down in the ditches. Someone has been rock bottom. Someone has just lost everything they have. They don't know where to go. They're around a great group of people right now. You're picked up and you're excited, and you're jumping around. You're ready to conquer the world, and then you get out there and nothing. You got to have something to take with you. That's why I wrote this. I want to make sure everybody has something to take with them they can reflect back. I've had several people, and this book hasn't been out that long, that have already called me and say, Will, we have group meetings, we talk about you, will you come in and speak? We've read your book, we use it, it's working. They're success stories. And every once in a while I get a little email, a little dribble, or somebody on Facebook. I am on Facebook, I am on IG. I'm getting kind of used to it. I'm an older guy, so I'm getting used to all this new technology out there with the millennials. So I try to communicate with that as well. I do podcast, so if you still need to see me or hear me speak, I'm still out there. But I want to make an impression. I want to make an impression on you guys that everyone is proud of you where you've come today. And you want to keep on doing these things. You want to keep on living, because life is precious. We're not promised tomorrow, but we want to make the best out of the life we have. Because who knows when we die? Really? Who really knows? And that's the thing that I think about and reflect on. And yes, you're going to get mad. Yes, you're going to have bad experiences, but it's how you handle life when it throws these really hard situations at you. And what defines you is how you handle that situation. Let me give you a reality check on something. People are going to die. It's part of life. Don't let it define who you are. Don't let it control you. Don't completely break down and give up on life. That's part of life. Part of life is people are going to die. You're going to go to funerals. Some might be before their time, but it happens. You're going to get fired from a job that maybe you liked a lot. That's life. That happens. Don't let it define you. Simply say, you know what? This door closed. I'm going to go find a better job, making more money, and I'm in a happier environment. Don't let the bad side of life get you down. It's easy to say, I give up, screw this, I'm not going to deal with it anymore. That is the easy way out. Don't take the easy way out, because you're not really doing anything for yourself when you do that. Exactly, you're absolutely correct. So these are some of the things that happen in life that I've learned. I can't tell you how many doors are slammed in my face. Because people will always judge a book by its cover. They will always judge you by your past. It's one thing that people always remember. They never remember the good things you did in life. They remember all the bad things you did in life. Amen. So you got to get past that. Don't let that bother you. If my first 6 months, I couldn't find a job. People did a background check on me and yeah, whatever, go at the door. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm smarter than that. I'm better than that. If I can't find a job, I'm going to make a job. You know what I started doing? I started mowing lawns. Started a little lawn company. So now I'm digging ditches and mowing lawns. I'm digging ditches on the week, mowing lawns on the weekend. I found out how much money I could make in that, just mowing lawns. Well, in Florida, it's year round, but up here, it's probably seasonal. But I was supplementing my income. After I started doing ditches, I got my degree. A good friend of mine, Larry, who's in this book, that helped me build a website while in prison to have this judge thrown off the bench. He said, come over to this architectural firm I just started working for, and you can be a CAD guy. So I was actually able to take that degree that I went to night school for and become a CAD geek and make $25 an hour sitting in front of a computer. Just popping lines and designing stuff, for this architectural firm. Unfortunately, we had the whole recession Remember that? The housing boom? I lost everything again. I'm just starting to get everything back. I finally got my own apartment, and then I lost everything again. And I was like, you know what? This is part of life. I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to go cry a tear in my beer. I'm going to think outside of the box again. Because people that think outside of the box are the ones that usually get through bad situations. They don't let the situation define them. They define the situation. So that's what I did. And I started a pest control company in the middle of a recession. My neighbor, he saw how enthusiastic I was about working and how hard I work. He said, "Here, Will, here's $5,000. Do something with it." In 4 years, I turned this $5,000 into $250,000 and sold my company. So you can make things happen when bad stuff is going on around you. This is how you do not let the situation define who you are. Everything in this universe happens for a reason. If you lose a job, it's because something out there is better. Look at the positive side of things. There's something better for you. You lost that job because you're supposed to lose that job because there's something better for you somewhere else. And that's how you have to think. We have to get rid of the stinking thinking that we do a lot. When we lose a job or something negative happens, oh God, it was my fault, I did something wrong. You got to get out of that attitude and that mindset. You have to think, great. If someone fires you, go, oh, thank God. Now I can move on and make more money. Throw it back in their court. Don't let what they're doing control you, and don't let that situation control you. This is really important. Passion. You must be passionate about what you do. If you enjoy cooking, cook. If you enjoy to watch the expression on people's faces when they're eating your food, open up a catering service. Start small. You can do it out of your kitchen. If you enjoy taking care of people, then think about getting into the medical field, nursing. Because there's all kinds of jobs out there in the medical field for nurses in all different arrays, from mental to physical to health to children. There's a ton of nursing jobs out there. You're giving back to the community. It's something that a lot of people are passionate about. And if you have long-term or longevity with that company, I have a friend of mine, she's a nurse. She does the 12 and 12. She only works 4 days out of the week. She makes close to $90,000 a year, and she has full retirement and benefits. She had to work her way there. It didn't happen in 2 years. She's been there for 15 years. But look at the longevity of something. I just did a podcast on Facebook this morning about retirement. A lot of people don't even know what that word means anymore. If we don't start planning ahead for our retirement and start planning for our future, and this is something you need to start doing now, when you get 65, 70 years old, you can't work anymore. Now what? Social Security may or may not be there, but who can really live off $1,200 a month? What is that really going to buy you? Not a whole lot. So then what happens? Then you go into these assisted living facilities where you're sharing a room with someone or two. And the conditions aren't that great. Is that how you really want to spend your ending days, your golden years? No. So we have to think ahead about our retirement. A lot of us can't afford medical. I want to tell you a secret. I don't have medical insurance right now because it's too damn expensive because of how much money I make. But there is something called catastrophic insurance. If you get hit by a car and you wind up in a hospital and they're racking up the bill $20,000 a day on you, you're not paying for that. Get that. It's cheap because you're not using it all the time. When I go in to see my doctor, I just pay him cash, and they give me a bigger discount than the insurance would have. They don't charge me that $75 doctor's visit fee. They go in, tell me what I need, write my prescription, I give the guys $50, and that $175 or $200 visit fee that the insurance would have paid breaks down to $50, which I'd have paid anyway out of my pocket for the copay. So what did it really mean for me to spend this extra $300 a month when I know the facilities that I go to just for basic care are going to jack the prices up because they know the insurance company is going to talk them down. So I just kind of use my common sense on that. Like I said, sometimes common sense is not very common, and in my instance it wasn't at that point, but I kind of looked at it. I looked at the situation like I'm paying the same amount of money regardless. Exactly, I'm paying more because now I'm paying $400 or $500 a month, and they're jacking up the rates, and my copay's $50 anyway. So either way, I was paying $50. I just saved myself $400 or $500 a month. So that's something that that you really kind of want to look at and observe. But back to, and sometimes I get sidetracked as these little things pop off my head. But passion about what you're doing is very important. You want to be able to work a job that you want to do. Like aviation and flying, I love it. I love it because I'm 40,000 feet in the air. Nobody's bothering me. Nobody's tapping me on my shoulder. Nobody's asking me retarded questions that I don't want to answer. And a lot of us sometimes experience that, where we're working. It's just me and the sky. And I enjoy it and I love it. And I can't believe I get paid for it. Another passion I've acquired the past couple of years is coming out talking and speaking to people because I want to share that passion. I want to help people. One of the number one rules to success in life is not about how much wealth you have or how much money you make. It's about who you help along the way. Because as human beings, we're not here to have grandiose things. We're here to help each other make it through this roller coaster ride we call life. And it has its ups and its downs and its backs and its forths. But there's, my mom always told me, she goes, son, you can count on one hand through your life how many friends you're going to have. And she was absolutely right about that. And I've got some really good friends I've known from high school. One out of the hundreds of friends I had, I know one. And I've seen friends come and I've seen friends go. But true friends stand there by your side when you're going through rough times. True friends don't abandon you when you need them. True friends will go out of their way and make a sacrifice to help you. And those are the kind of the people you kind of want to keep yourself around. But you have to reciprocate that. You have to be, if you're going to be a true friend, you have to reciprocate that back to them. And we create our own little group and we move in the direction. And you guys are going to develop friendships here. Some of you guys are going to go off other places. Some of you guys will probably stay here. But just remember where that foundation of friendship started. And remember where you're going. And help people along the way. Because that will come back to you tenfold. I promise you that. As I stated earlier, you have one life to live. Invest in yourself. Don't, and this happens a lot. If you're around people that are always like this, get rid of them immediately. You don't want to buy around anybody that's walking behind you with their hand out. Because they're not good for you. Because you can't get where you're going to get if you always have people behind you taking what you're earning. Invest in you. Don't invest in them. They need to invest in themselves. You can teach them that. Say, hey, instead of doing this, let's do this. Let's make a deal. Shake my hand here. Let's help invest in you. Because if you keep on and have these signs, these funny signs at the zoo, it says, please don't feed the animals. Because they become dependent upon it. So when we're constantly, giving people money and they're not working towards it, what are we doing? They're making them become dependent upon that. And something that you guys are familiar with, the word enabling. So let's try not to, help people, but do not enable people. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. There's nothing wrong with helping them. Just don't let them become dependent upon it, and do not let them enable. And the sword cuts both ways. Don't depend on someone else for your happiness, and don't let them enable you. Because when that happens, you don't recognize it, but it happens, and then you can get in that crazy chain that I'm going to talk about. Breaking the chain, breaking the insanity of what you've been doing consistently over and over and over again, and nothing changes. There's a little phrase you guys are probably used to. It's called nothing changes if nothing changes. If you don't make a change in your life and you don't do something with your life, you're going to continue to have the same life you've always had. So I do something called a Franklin list. So this is maybe a little experiment you guys want to work with over the weekend. Take a piece of paper and write down a Franklin list. A Franklin list is something with pros and cons, and what's going to make you successful and what's going to make you fail. People around you that are good, people around you are bad. You use that Franklin list to decide where you want to be. On the top of that Franklin list, set a goal. Go home and look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, self, this is where I am. This is where I want to be. What do I need to do to get to where I want to be? And it's real simple. If it's, I want to get a degree in this, go out and fill out a Pell Grant. Every one of you will qualify for a Pell Grant, or just about every one of you will qualify for a Pell Grant. Pell Grants are given to people that are going through times that a lot of you ladies are going through, so you can take advantage of that and use that. Use that because you're going to be surrounding yourself once again around people that are after the same common goal. If you're going to nursing school, everybody there wants to be a nurse. And as I said earlier, if you want to be a nurse, hang out with nurses. So this is something else that we kind of want to think about. What else did I want to talk to you guys tonight about? We do have an awesome life that we live, but sometimes we make bad decisions. I was the king of bad decisions. My reputation was, if it can be fucked up, I will fuck it up. And I will do it 110%. I was the dude that would hold my beer and watch this. I was that guy. And I got tired of that reputation because I didn't want that reputation. That wasn't a good reputation. It kind of felt good at the moment because I felt like I had everybody's attention, but that was something we call negative attention. Some people just get attention where there's negative attention or positive attention. So we really have to, we don't want the negative attention. We want that positive attention because the negative attention doesn't get you anywhere. That's negative energy. And if you keep on surrounding yourself with negative energy, what's going to happen? You're not going to go anywhere. Adversity, overcoming adversity. That's pretty much the key to the book is climbing your way out of adversity to success. Accountability is something. It's a big scary word that people don't like to hear. If you make a mistake in life, there's going to be some type of accountability, and that's just how life is. It's called cause and effect. Every action has an equal or opposite reaction to what you do. So if you want to cut your ties, cut your apron strings, cut all the bad stuff from behind you, do that. And do it now. Don't hang on to it. It might be a bad relationship. It might just be someone in your family that you're not getting along with. Instead of sitting there and butting heads with them, say, you know what? I'm going to bury the hatchet here. I'm going to let bygones be bygones. And I love you and I forgive you. But let me tell you one thing. Don't ever let this happen again, or I will turn my back and I will walk away. Now you've drawn a line in the sand. Now they know that if they do that again, there's going to be consequences to their actions. And so if it does happen again, you don't have to sit there and argue with him. What did I tell you 6 months ago? And you got to be steadfast in that. Because people are manipulators, especially young kids. Teenagers are the biggest manipulators, aren't they?
Yeah.
They know how to get their way.
I don't know about that.
They know how to get their way. They know what to do to manipulate and take advantage. But it is what it is. But there's always accountability. And sometimes when you do bad things or you just make bad decisions, the accountability can be way up here where you don't want to. Trust me, when I had my hands cuffed behind my back, I didn't want to go sit in jail. I didn't want to go through the whole processing. I mean, I didn't want to go sit in prison. But I was in a bad situation, a bad place at a bad time. Yes, I made a decision. I didn't think I needed to go to prison for it. But, it is what it is. I can't change it. I have to lean into it. If I pull away from it, I'm not accepting it. So I decided to lean into it. A lot of good things came out of the 26 months. I was able to help people read and write. I helped some guys learn how to read the Bible. So I took the bad situation and turned it into a positive, because sitting there and woe is me and feeling sorry for myself over what had happened doesn't do anything good for anyone. Not for me, not for the people around me. So I created something positive out of that. The judge being thrown off the bench allowed a lot of innocent guys that went before her have a second chance to prove their freedom and prove that they were right. So that worked out well. So all in all, it worked out well. I remember when they were transferring me, when I was being released, the warden and the sergeant came down, and it was like 11 o'clock at night. They opened up my cell, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh, Jesus, what now? And they're like, well, you got it. You won. You're out of here. Because they don't talk about transfers because they're scared of jailbreaks and all that stuff. And I was like, thank God. I was like, he goes, you finally got your day. Because I was all over the news media. I was all in the newspapers. I mean, it was all over. The Associated Press had it. And it was just it was a really big to-do at the time. And the warden looks at me and goes, you know what, Will? We're going to miss you. And I kind of looked up and I was like, well, I'm not going to miss you. I'm getting the hell out of here. But the reason he said that, and I appreciate it, because I did help a lot of people, and I was in a situation where I could have been like everyone else. and point fingers and pass blame, but I didn't do it. I turned a bad situation into a good situation. And you know what it was about? It was about helping other people. So really, if you leave here today, think about who you can help. If you see someone going down the wrong path, just tap them and say, hey, do you want to continue doing this for the rest of your life? Because we don't want any of you beautiful women winding up on that board.
That's right.
Right? None of y'all need to wind up on that board. So just, kind of really do some soul searching. I'm going to, the ones that are like in desperate need, if you're getting ready to leave and you really need this book to kind of help you kickstart going out and being dependent, take it. I'm going to send some more up. If you just can't wait, like I said, you can go online to Amazon. But there is chapter 10. It is the step part of how to go from a $7 an hour, $10 an hour job to making $100,000 a year. The one thing I can tell you, it will not happen tomorrow. It will not happen 12 months from now. It won't happen 20. It took me 10 years to start making over $100,000 a year, 6 figures. But it can happen. It's easy to do. You just have to apply the principles and keep doing the steps. And that goes to life across the board for anything. Whether it's the 12 steps here in your program, whether it's a step outside in a program, whether it's in a company, they have these steps for a reason because they work. If they didn't work, they wouldn't happen, right? So I think that's all I have to say tonight.